face the death. Look him in the eye. You can't turn back once you come this far into the darkness.
Well, it kind of brings us, 8 years later to the current record, Worship.
Exactly. What happened?
Well, and I already said, man, this is, I think, hands down the best production. So, hats off to you on that one.
It's got the balls.
Dude, it's got...
sure.
Well, and I think you're right. I think even looking back on your productions from, Dimmu and Throne, and I feel like you became known for those, cutting guitars. It's almost like you took the HM2 sound and how aggressive and cutting that those frequencies are, and you gave it clarity, and you kind of created your own unique tone kind of that carried through a lot of these albums. Always a little different, but kind of signature Abyss Studio. And it's funny that you mentioned it on Disclosure being sometimes maybe a little thin or squeaky, I think you use. But to me, I think maybe that was just you trying to balance, because you always wanted the bass to shine through. I think a lot of people have too much low end in their guitar where they're now losing, that bass signal and that bass, or at least separation, right? That wideness and that separation. I think you achieved it across the board from the drums, the bass. Actually, I wrote a note to myself on... what is it? Brotherhood of the Serpent, I think, is the beginning. Kind of opens up with just guitar and bass, I believe. And the separation there, I think that song is like a lesson to people in metal production. It's like, look, you can hear the bass separate from the guitar. This is what it should sound like. It's heavy. It's ballsy. It's amazing. So,
That's really how I started to be involved in productions, because in the 80s and early 90s, you could never hear the bass, except on the stop on Altar of Madness. What's the song? This distorted thing that comes... what's the song called? On Morbid Angel, Altar of Madness. When it stops and it goes with the distorted bass, that's probably the only time you hear a bass on any album.
I think a Cannibal Corpse fucked with a knife, or whatever, that break...
Oh yeah, Hammer Smash Face. Yeah,
that
bass,
too.
But you don't really hear it in the mix.
Sure.
That's my problem.
Right.
On Legion, on Dia side, you can actually hear the piano in there.
Mm-hmm.
I really like that bass sound, but I wish it would be more bottom in it though.
Yeah.
But I really like that sound, and I also, of course, I love. Alex bass sound. We did tours together, and the sound he has live, I wish he could have it on the albums as well.
There's a lot of bands that we could say that about. They never really achieved exactly, how they sound in a live situation.
Yeah. Well, and that was my goal in the beginning as a producer. I wanted to help the death metal community to hear the bass kind of thing, And I wasn't doing such a good job anyhow, but it took me a lot of albums to really get the bass coming through.
Yeah.
And that's why I start forcing bands in the 90s to use 5-string bass, even if they didn't tune down or anything, just to get the more low ends in the whole things. Like Dimmu Borgir, I gave him a 5-strings. They were like, what the fuck is this? We're not used to this. We're used to standard tuning. And same with Immortal. I told him, hey, let's put a 5-string on there. We can get a lot of fucking boom in there without destroying the production. And there was a lot of bands I forced to use the B string on the bass.
Okay.
In the 90s.
Wow. Yeah, it's
not
crazy.
Forced, but come up with the idea so they feel comfortable with it as well. It's not like I wasn't forcing them by per se.
Right. Okay, well, let's go through these songs then. So, I listened to the whole record actually this morning preparing for all this, and so it's very, very fresh. We can kind of take it step by step like we did with the discography, but I think Worship kicks off really, really perfect, really. It has that epic intro, and then you get to it, and the rest of it kind of blazes through. So I think it's a good, hello, we're back, moment.
Yeah, I mean, this song... may not be the strongest song on the album, but it has a certain atmosphere, I would say.
Yep.
Anything from the beginning is a little bit like Metallica battery.
I was thinking
kind
like
of, feeling.
well, battery. Yeah, I was like, this kind of like these harmonies happening. I thought the exact same thing. It's funny.
Yeah, and it was just like, I don't know what I was doing with this guitar, but it was something that was growing through when I was sitting and playing this super simple melody, and I was like, what about if you start building it and doing this and that and that? So I just putting one harmony and then the next harmony and next. I don't know. Maybe there's 8 on 10 acoustic guitars on that intro at the end. Mm-hmm. Just small touches of a new step for every time this pattern is going, you know, just to build up something.
Yeah, it sounds awesome.
Yeah, and also the song, when we do like 2-beat songs, like we always keep it like in a certain tempo, more groovy certain tempo. Mm-hmm. But this time I wanted to pull it up a little bit more to, I don't know how to explain it, but so it passes the groove and becomes this really more into the typical death metal 2 beats, you know, the newer ones,
more
not
aggressive.
the old stuff, you know.
Sure.
So, and also inside there, I put horns on there and a lot of weird stuff, you know. First you go out with a bang and then you come down in the middle of the song, you know, to get it more epic, and then back again, you know.
Right.
And it's the only guitar solo on the whole album.
Oh, yeah, I guess I didn't notice that. I did notice some other little things.
This long, you know.
Right. Is that you?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
But
Nice.
I'm not a guitarist, so that's the thing. You know, if you have something to show off, I don't mind at all. I mean, I love good guitarists, you know. I come from Yngwie Malmsteen, Steve Vai,
right,
Joe Satriani and shit like that, but I would never sit down and practice that shit. Never.
Well, like you said, you're a songwriter.
Interest.
Yeah. So you're thinking of melodies rather than trying to shred something.
Yeah. And so therefore I can't shred. So and I don't mind. Because there's so many good guitars out there that blows your mind, you know.
And there always will be.
Yeah, and you know, I tip the hat to all these people.
Yeah. Yeah, why compete? Sure. Yeah, exactly. All right, well, we should move through, Chemical Horror, obviously the first single, and I think very representative of, I think, what Hypocrisy fans would come to expect. It has, again, epic moments, and, it reminded me a little bit of Iris. Some people said self-titled, so I think it's all in there. I think it encompasses Hypocrisy.
Yeah, this is a typical Hypocrisy song, whether we like it or we don't like it. It's just the way how things comes out when you write music, Right. And it's cool. Michael contribute with one riff, Horg contribute with the intro riff, and cool. I think it's brilliant, That's awesome. Yeah, I think it was a great introduction to the new album for all the fans, for sure. We didn't want to scare people. We do that on the single that we released today. Dead World. I listened to that as well before. Well, I listened to it like midnight last night. I haven't seen the video, no. But I listened to it last night. Yeah. And obviously again today. And didn't your son wrote that with you, right? Is that the one? No, he actually wrote it by himself. Oh, I wrote the lyrics, he wrote the music. So
yeah, that's I was going to say, it's a little different.
A project. Yeah, I guess it's a younger generation kind of feel to it. Yeah. The intro riff reminds me of latter era Decapitated almost, kind of with that like bending up, like the it reminds me of that. Yeah. But then the broken up, obviously, verses and everything. It's definitely a little different, but it's heavy as hell. That's for sure. Yeah, and it's aggressive. Fast as fuck. Yeah, aggressive. I figured, it was a great single to balance out, the first one and show people like, here's what you can expect. Maybe expect the unexpected with this new one. Exactly. Well, that's cool. That I'd heard your son was a good drummer, and obviously he was playing guitar. But I didn't know that he wrote with you on End of Disclosure, and it was cool to find out that you still have that collaboration going. Yeah. That's got to be a trip. I mean, he was 14 years old, I think, when he did that on End of Disclosure. He was just sitting and can hardly hit the strings with his pick because his technique is not there yet and things, but he was playing this stuff for me. I was like, holy shit, you know, if you play it right, it's going to sound killer. So let's do a song. Wow. So that's how we spent on Soldier of Fortune, and that's how it came out.
And so with Dead World, did he just kind of present this on his own? What made you want to grab this?
No, actually, me and him in 2017, we had some free times, and we just started to do this father and son project. So we wrote 11 songs, actually. You know, He wrote a few, I wrote a few. You know, it was like 50-50 thing. And he jumped in and played drums on it, but we never came to putting vocals on or lyrics or anything like that. We kept it as a pre-production or a demo, you know, with 11 songs. So actually, That World was on there that he wrote, and I wrote, which song was that ended up on Hypocrisy? Let me think here. Brotherhood of the Serpent, I think, was also on there.
Wow.
That I wrote. So I took these two songs, and that actually gave me a bloody tooth to start with Hypocrisy's album in 2018 then.
We're good. Did you hear that? Latency. Okay. But yeah, that's pretty wild. So are you going to do anything with those songs ever?
I don't know. We'll see.
Did you guys have a name for the project?
Nope. We had no clue. We were just writing music and spitting out ideas and just putting it all in. Just to do it together, you know,
That's
to write
awesome.
together, to record together, to think together, and seeing things and in the music way of. We're very close, I think, when it comes to liking styles and music and things like that. So that makes the whole thing much easier.
Yeah, that's really cool. It's really cool. You can have that relationship together.
Yeah. And he also wrote for Lindemann as well, you know, don't forget that.
Oh,
you know, he did this Mathematik song for the last Lindemann album by himself.
Well, good for him.
Yeah.
Doing his thing.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we talked about Brotherhood of the Serpent now a little bit. I was talking about the production value, just the way the intro starts and everything is just like, holy shit. I mean, it's big, man. You hear the power of, you know, that bass. It's very, so much separation, so much presence. Everything is like spot on, man. Love it.
Thank you.
And then Children of Grey. I think, again, more of a typical kind of Hypocrisy song. I noticed, this is something I noticed, I might not have noticed the solo, but I noticed the vocal change. And I think that's the only song where you do it pretty much the whole way through, the higher vocal. Yeah,
it's actually one of the last songs I put vocals on and wrote the lyrics for. It's actually, the intro is actually Michael's riff. That's the second one he wrote on the album.
Oh, cool.
And I build the background of the music and stuff like that, and it has a really Hypocrisy feeling to it, you know.
For sure.
And that's what I'm saying about when we all contribute with different things, you get the feeling, you know. And that's why I was always so disappointed when people don't contribute, because I know they have it and we need it to make it special, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
So that song was one of the last ones, like I said, that I wrote lyrics and put vocals on there, you know. I love it as well. It's kind of commercialized with how I sing the chorus line, you know. It has a catchiness to it, without selling your soul. Put it that way. But, you know, when you sing and you do things, I like hooks, you know. I'm all about hooks, you know. If you don't have any hooks, who will remember anything?
Exactly. That's something we actually talk about here. Even with the old Deicide records, right? There's always hooks. Even death metal had hooks. Man. It's like the best hooks.
So many hooks.
So many.
I mean, yeah, and especially also with his vocals, you know, the punchlines of his lyrics, you know.
Yep.
You know, it's insane. I mean, I really love Glenn Benton for what he did, you know. insane.
We do too.
That's all. Yeah.
If you ever are bored, watch our Glenn Benton interview. It's pretty hilarious. I think it's the most
I can
watched
imagine.
Glenn Benton.
He's a funny guy.
Yo, he's hilarious, man. So funny.
We stopped by Morrisound. I remember when Hypocrisy was doing a few shows in America. We stopped by at Morrisound and they were doing Once Upon a Cross, I think, when we stepped in there. Or maybe it was the album after. No, I think
Serpent
it
to
was
the
Once
Light?
Upon a Cross. I'm not sure.
Okay.
But, he's always welcome with open arms. Like, yeah, come in. Hey, how are you doing? It's always fun.
Yeah, he's a goofy guy. I think some people have these perceptions of him and just, they just don't know him. And
people don't understand.
Yeah,
that's all.
Yeah. They have their own perception. It's like, hey, man, you're bothering this guy for, a picture interview, and he feels like shit. He's living on a fucking bus. So we've had those discussions with him, and it's just kind of funny to hear his perspective. Sometimes he's like, I feel like a stripper who's got to get up on the fucking stage and perform like a fucking monkey or something. So yeah, he has a really funny perspective. It's pretty enlightening and funny.
Yeah, imagine, I give you some good example. You're all dead, you wake up, there's nobody in the bus, you don't know where to go, you have no clue where you are, kind of. You step out of the bus and all suddenly there's like 10, 15, 20 people want to take a picture with you. Your eyes, you didn't even wake up yet, you have fucking sand in your eyes and you're just going, please wait, give me a couple of minutes, I need coffee, blah, 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 But I guess he just go, fuck off.
Yeah, that's about
to be
right.
polite.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
So I understand how he feels.
Oh, I'm sure everybody. Yeah, he's just got his own way of handling it, and hey, it is what it is, man. So
yeah, but I mean, all of us love our fans. Without our fans, we're nothing. So you have to see it in a different. Maybe you have to. Smooth out things sometimes.
Sure.
Sometimes I can't get away from people, and I just wake up and I need to take a morning shit or a morning piss, and you can't do it in the bus,
Right.
And you need to get the fuck out. So you tend to be snazzy against people, and you get shit for that. But it's circumstances.
Yeah, we're all human, man. We're all human. People got to remember, they don't know what you're going through. They don't, So hopefully people are open-minded and don't take things.
But
personally.
usually when I get my shit done, I go back out again. When I splash some water in my face and put on the glasses and go in with the hoodie and let's do it.
Hopefully you wash your hands before you splash your face. We don't need any.
You never know.
Pink eye.
Usually I just pee in my face and then I'm awake.
Okay, so we are at Another Day, which is a pretty blazing track as well.
Yeah. For me, this is one of the weaker ones.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was going to make it. But on the other hand, record companies like, hey, you need to save something for bonus tracks and stuff. And I was thinking, okay, that's the first one who's going as a bonus track. And then after a while, I was like, fuck this, we've been away for 8 years. There's not going to be any bonus track. Give him everything right now, right away. And that's how he went.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, it's funny. I was like writing notes. I prepared the sheet. I try to be prepared for this stuff. And I had to pencil in the song titles because I didn't have them all written down. And I realized I skipped that song. But that's also the one I can't remember from listening to everything this morning. So maybe you had something there. I'll have to go back and refresh myself, but I don't have a note on that song. So I don't know what that means, but maybe you're right.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's one of the least powerful song. It's a little weaker than the other ones.
Well, I will go back and make sure I digest it fully and see how I feel about it.
But I did interviews for 2 weeks now. And a lot of people pointing out that song that they really like it. So I really don't know what the hell is going on.
Well, it is heavy and fast. So, I could see people who want more aggressive Hypocrisy to, maybe enjoy that song. So.
Yeah, I mean, I really love the riffs and everything. And when I wrote the lyrics and started singing on it, I couldn't get it the way I felt that I wanted it. If I mute the vocals on it, I really love the song. But just the play between the music and the vocals, I could never figure out the right way to sing it or the right pitch. Or there's always something, that it doesn't tick for me, you know.
Well, I think
and there's always songs like that on albums.
Sure.
It's impossible to be happy 100% with all of them, but this one was the one that I'm only 97% happy with.
Yeah, I understand, and I think people take for granted like how important that play is. You know, a lot of people just like, hey, let's write these riffs and just throw vocals on them. It's like, well, you're not really like, you know, giving,
it doesn't work
giving
like
the song,
that, unfortunately,
the credence that it deserves. Yeah, exactly. It doesn't work like that.
You know, I don't know. Maybe I should have sang it in a different way or in a different pattern on top of the thing. But I tried all kinds of stuff and I could never really figure it out.
Yeah.
But in the end, I think it as good as it can get.
All
unfortunately.
Right. Well, it is.
But I think, like I said, a lot of people like it.
It's all that matters.
Maybe it's only you and me.
Well, I didn't say I didn't like it. I just said I didn't remember. You know, I just remember it being fast.
Yeah, but that's the key. That's the key. You don't remember it, so it wasn't something that's stuck in your head.
This is true. This is true.
Yeah.
Whereas most Hypocrisy is memorable because there's so many melodies and the hooks on the choruses and that kind of thing. So there's always something to pull you. They're like, you know, kind of click in your head. And that was that one that just didn't for me. So.
But also, this is another thing that I was talking about, the thrash coming back to my feet are in the thrash from the mid 80s, you know?
Right.
It's got a good groove to it. I have no problem with that, but it's just like I just couldn't connect the vocals and the music. But maybe other people say, hey, what are you talking about? It's fucking great.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know.
Sure. Everyone's got their own opinion, their own take on it, 100%.
Oh, yeah. Like we say in Sweden, you know, your ass cheeks are like the taste, you know, it's either that or that, you know?
Yeah, I like that. We'll have to use that analogy.
Unfortunately, it doesn't sound good in English, but in Swedish, it sounds perfect, you know?
All right. So then They Will Arrive is next, and I think it's another good example of, you know, what people expect of Hypocrisy. It's got kind of all the elements that you would, I think, want in a Hypocrisy song.
Yeah. It's got a good roll with the double bass, and it's got a good groove. You know, the kicks are going not super fast, but it's going in a good, decent tempo. You know,
right.
And you got a nice groove to it, and I really like the picking in it and everything. You know,
the hook.
It has something.
Yeah, I like the hook in that one. Gods of the Underground.
Yeah.
Tell us
That's
about
about civilization that lives inside the earth, you know, because the earth is filled with like a honeycombs, you know, like a bee nest, you know. There's a lot of space inside. Trust me, if you know how big the earth is and just start drilling a couple of miles in, you're still far away from the core, you know, and maybe something happened a long time ago that everybody had to get inside the earth to save their asses, you know. It could be you know, a comet, meteor, or whatever hitting the earth, so people go in shelters, and maybe they liked it so much so they stay there for thousands of years. So maybe what we see today is actually this civilization that's not coming out from space, but they actually come from inside the earth. There's a lot of theories about Antarctica and things like that down there, that there's big cavern of spaces where different civilizations lived in. I don't buy all of that stuff, but, you know, I think it's a very interesting idea, you know, when you start spinning about the idea.
Yeah, 100%. And then musically, where were you coming from on this one?
I think that's... The intro is actually... the intro riff is the melody is Horg who wrote that one, actually. Cool. Which I like. It's bombastic. It's kind of this feeling of an immortal kind of feeling, I would say. And he had that, and I just kept on building on that one. So it's just like always, it's a little puzzle of different elements and different riffing, and you put the one next to the other one and next to the other one, and you listen, maybe change this and change that and so on. And it was also one of the last one that got completed for the album as well. So the vocals is a little bit different on that one as well, you know?
Yeah.
So for me, it's a good ending song on the album for sure.
Yeah, I thought it was a solid closer. I think it summed up everything really nicely, and I think,
and it leaves you with your pants down, going like, "Now what?
Now what? Yeah, right. Another 8 years."
Yeah,
you're the new Metallica.
No, I hope not. I don't know what's going to happen in the future. I don't really want to speculate. Maybe this is the last one, or maybe it's not. I don't know.
Yeah.
Let's see what the mood is in. We're not getting younger. Put it that way.
I hear that. Well, we do have a what we consider our diehards Patreon question. And what is that question, producer? Why don't you just ask it? You get on the mic.
Oh, well, shit. So today's comes from Matt Besnard. He wants not a specific question, but if the conversation goes that way, and it did not, could he share? Focused. Could Peter share any stories from producing Monotheist with Celtic Frost or Celtic Frost? There's a question for you. Do you say Celtic or Celtic?
Exactly. I was going to say, do we say Celtic or Celtic? Because I always said Celtic, until I started working with them, and they say Celtic.
Ah,
well then it's
the guys in the band.
Well, that's
so
official.
I had to change like 20 years of thinking wrong, I guess. It was a really hard production, a really hard recording session, and they were on the edge because it was a comeback.
Mm-hmm.
And I was on the edge because I didn't know what I was getting into. I loved Celtic Frost since the first mini album they released. I loved them since Hellhammer time. So for me, it was really a tense moment because I didn't know what they expected from me. I didn't know what to expect from them. And they had a lot of songs and they did a lot of pre-productions. And there was a lot of things I didn't agree on in way of singing and songs in there. And it was a little tense at the time because I'm a very honest guy. I say right away, I don't like this. I don't like that, And sometimes people can't take credit, so it just kind of stopped. And there was a few times of that. It was very intense. They had a lot of pressure for a comeback album, to really show they know what the fuck is going on. So, and also for me, I had that feeling all the time. Also, I have a lot of pressure to not make the band look like shit or sound like shit or anything. So, we were under a lot of pressure, all of us. I think it was the most intense album I ever recorded, to be honest.
Well, Peter, I appreciate it, man. We kept you forever, so I appreciate all the time.
Man.
Let you get.
I hope I did something good,
dude. This is more than fantastic. You were one of the best. I've been a big fan. Like I said, I got to meet you in 2002. You were very, very pleasant to meet at the time. You weren't pissed off or anything. So,
what was I sober?
No, I don't think you were sober. You were actually. You were actually walking. You were walking around. We got there early because we were opening up, so we were there like for sound check and stuff. But you had been walking around the area, and it was like, in the Cleveland club you played was like the hood, man. It was like there's nothing to go to. There's nowhere to go.
That big fucking.
The Agora.
Thank you.
Yeah. But there's nothing there. There's nothing around, but it's fucking hood as fuck everywhere. And
it's not a pleasant one.
No.
But you got to take your chances sometimes.
You were wearing your big like hockey jersey thing and walking around with some guys, and I think you circled around with there's fucking nothing to do here, and came back in the club, and so that was it. Yeah, that was it. But I think my girlfriend, maybe my guitar player's girlfriend, they all like were in love with you because you have that Johnny Depp-ish like Steve Buscemi mix or whatever. But yeah, the girls, I just remember the girls going, "Oh my god." And we're like, yeah, it's cool. We love Peter too, but